This video will be about Scandinavian homes in the 90s, more specifically Swedish homes. I am born in Sweden, I grew up in Sweden, but Scandinavia is 3 countries. Scandinavia consists of Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. I thought it was super fun when doing research for this video because some of the things that I remember from the 90s are the lava lamps. I remember the kind of Art Deco, kind of ugly patterns that you could find on couches. But because I am very interested in the society and societal issues and culture and what we call culture and all of those things you are interested in as a social anthropologist that I am. I don't work as an anthropologist, I do YouTube videos among other things. But I have that perspective with me, so I wanted to give you a little short history background about Sweden. Sweden has now a population of around 10 million people. It's a quite small country if you compare it to the world, but it is a country that has a lot of impact on pop culture. This wasn't always the case. Sweden used to be a very poor country. Up until the beginning of the 1900s, it was a very poor country that people actually moved away from. A lot of people, actually 1 million of Swedes, migrated from Sweden during the 1800s to the United States. I think this has created a link between the United States and Sweden that you can see like in pop culture. We have a lot of actors and actresses in Hollywood, a lot of the music that is huge now, like on billboards, award-winning artists and so on have released music that has been written by Swedes. The latest great example is this Apple song by Charlie XCX that has been going super viral on the social media platforms. That one is written by 2 Swedes together with Charlie XCX. We have had bands such as ABBA and Ace of Base and Avicii and a lot of other artists. So Sweden is a small country that has a lot of exports. Sweden was in a tough financial situation in the beginning of the 90s. A lot of households had a tough time, and we had a racist party get into the parliament for the first time. We had a right-wing party in the government that took over after a lot of years of social democracy. Sweden has had Social Democrats ruling the country for a lot of years, but in the beginning of the 90s it was a right-wing government. We had a lot of things happening in the 90s. In Sweden we had a lot of migrants coming to Sweden. There were wars in the Balkan, former Yugoslavia, so a lot of people came and sought asylum in Sweden. We had computers starting to become more easy to get access to. More families starting to buy computers. Internet started to become something that a lot of families had in their homes in the later part of the 90s. The music that we listened to was a lot of singer-songwriter music. I remember the adults around me listened to Tracy Chapman and Lisa Ekdahl, a very famous Swedish singer-songwriter, amazing singer. You should check out her music. I can't play it unfortunately, but I love her. And this was the time when I started school. I'm born '89. You start school at the age of 7. Before we dive into all the juicy photos from the 90s, I want to mention this. Sweden is a multicultural country. We have people from a lot of different countries living in Sweden, and obviously homes look different depending on where you were born. Immigrants that came to Sweden might not have the same style in their homes as white Swedes, and depending also on what class you belong to and how much money your household has, you will obviously buy different things. Lower income families might have a different style compared to a middle class home or an upper class home. But I think these trends and the things that I'm gonna show you are what we can see in middle class homes in Sweden in the 90s. So with that short history lesson, I wanted to show you what the IKEA catalog thought we should have in our homes 1990. When I think about like going to school and going on school trips, this image with these wood furniture, that like the wood sofa, the wood table, which I think is called stabil, which means stable. It's made from, I think it's made from pine wood. A lot of furniture in Swedish stores and a lot of Scandinavian design is made from wood because we have a lot of forest, we have a lot of wood growing in our countries. And this to me looks so typical, like going on a school trip with your class in the 90s. This type of wood is quite light, but it darkens when you put a shellac or some kind of lacquer on it, but it also darkens with time and it gives it a very orangey color that I'm not a super big fan of. But it gives a specific warmth and a quite cozy feeling. We can also see more of like lighter, more romantic things, and I thought this photo, also from the catalog from the 90s, is interesting because it looks very similar to what a home could look like today. Specifically this coffee table with the gold metal legs and the glass top is something that I see on Facebook Marketplace all the time. So I think you can definitely see those 90s things come back now. But what is very specific about the 90s is also this yellow color on the walls. I have mentioned in another video that we really like Josef Frank, and I thought it was fun to show you this photo with this chair that looks very much like a pattern from Josef Frank and Svenskt 10 that is very popular in Swedish homes. And I think it's also important to remember that IKEA is not super unique when it comes to creating their own styles. They kind of copy other designer styles and make it more affordable for other people. Their whole business idea is to create cheap furniture. And sometimes it happens to be furniture of good quality, and sometimes it's not, and things break after a short time. But that's their business idea. They wanted to make it easy for people to own nice furniture, and to do so you have these flat packages and you set it up yourself. You build the last piece of the furniture in your home. I also like this photo because it shows the Ivar-hylla, the Ivar bookshelf that is still super popular. You can see it on Facebook Marketplace all of the time. I have it in my guest room. I think everyone has owned one of these at some point. And it's a smart bookshelf that you can adapt to your own needs. And here you can see the pops of colors. You have the bright orange, the bright green, the hot pink, and it looks like this table is the luck table. I don't know if it is, but that's like a classic staple piece that I think every Swede has also owned. And I had one in black in my first home, but I'm not sure if this is the luck table, but probably. You could also see some influences by Art Deco design in the beginning of the 90s and also in the late 80s. I think this couch is a good example of that, like the colors, and it also looks like something that could have been made in the 60s when that was also on trend. And I wonder, is this? No, it's not. I thought the bookshelf was this Enetri bookshelf that is super popular again and is being sold on Facebook Marketplace for a lot of money. And I feel there was this trend in the 90s, I think all over Europe and the Western world, where they were interested in like anything ethnic. You could see patterns in fabric that were like inspired by Western African culture or traditions. You could also see some influences that came from like South America and Mayan culture and Inca culture, and there was like this interest for anything ethnic. Something you could find in probably any home in the 90s was this big couch, often in black leather, could also be like in brown or gray leather. We definitely had one of these couches when I grew up at my mom's place. I remember in my dad's house we had a bigger, more chunky set with a couch and the chair that was quite big, honestly, in like a warm, rich brown color, way more bulky than this one. I think the table is lovely. The lamps are quite nice. Overall, I think it looks quite decent. This picture with a dog and the red couch is also nice. I really like this table, and I feel like this table would probably be popular on the second-hand market today. This photo I wanted to show you because I think it's very nice. It looks super nice. It looks like a couch that I could have in my home now. And again, this coffee table looks like something that you could buy new in store now. The lamp, both the lamps actually, and I think it's a nice combination with the blue wall and the orange couch. When going through the catalog from 90, I also wanted to look at the catalog from 95 because it started changing a little bit. In the later 90s, people were having a bit of a more stable economic situation, and it was also becoming quite popular to travel to Italy, Spain, and Greece. Greece has been loved by Swedes for many, many years. I think a lot of Swedes traveled to Greece in the 80s and in the beginning of the 90s. Spain is also popular, still is. And I feel something that a lot of moms probably bought when they were in Italy, Greece, and Spain are this very specific type of porcelain or tableware. I think we have had a lot of these teacups that are kind of chubby and often have these more bigger, chunkier flower patterns that are hand painted, and underneath it always says like made in Spain, hand painted in Spain, or something like that. And I feel they kind of look the same. Even though they were made in different countries and painted by different people, I don't know why or how this happened, if there was just like an organization deciding this is what we will paint these teacups like. They are beautiful, there's nothing wrong with them, but these were very big, and I think it was also a way to kind of show people that came to your home that you had traveled somewhere. Something a bit more different from the darker burnt orange and the green and the wood that we saw is this more of a romantic scenario that we have here. And I actually think that this looks like more when I look at like design videos from today, this looks more like British to me. I also fell in love with these wardrobes, and I'm sure someone has these at home still. Very like farmhouse like, with a straw hat. And I feel like in general in the 90s we had a lot of like organic and natural materials in our homes. A lot of like grass and bamboo and rattan. A lot of those materials, maybe in the later part of the 90s. I feel like in the 80s it was probably more like techie, glass, metal, plastic vibes, but I feel like in the 90s we kind of got more inspiration also from the 70s. If you look at a lot of things that were trending in the 90s are inspired by fashion from the 70s, and also the color palettes and so on. Again, the wood on this photo, we have walls, wood. We have this little drawer thingy, we have a wardrobe, we have the bed frame. Everything is in this very warm and cozy wood. And this also looks very much like a cozy Scandinavian cabin in the forest. And it kind of also reminds me, this photo, and also where is it? I also have this other photo that looks quite a lot like the cabin or the house in the series Master of None, the 3rd season, that is very different from the other seasons. It looks very much like that kind of country house. This photo with a checkered couch and everything kind of in wood, and the kind of darker, moodier color palette, but still you have some light coming in from the windows, but it feels very like enveloping and very cozy. This table setting also looks amazing and looks very homey to me, and actually looks like a dream picture of what my aunt, my cousin's mom, she was very, or she probably still is very interested in having a nice home, and she always had like nice decoration and always working on things at home, and she was also a painter, and I feel like this was the vibe in their apartment. Some of the patterns that were popular was this checkered pattern, and on wallpaper we often had this, I don't know what it's called, but this kind of, what is it called, like a divider also made from wallpaper, but that gives a contrast. So sometimes you could have like a white wallpaper and then like a checkered green, and then you had this dividing part in wallpaper. When filming this video, I also tried to look for homes that weren't like white homes or white families, because we had this these influences from other countries and a lot of families from other countries. I also wanted to show those homes, so I might try and find more real homes from like immigrant families in Sweden in the 90s. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you wanna check out the IKEA museum more, or know more about Scandinavian architecture and home decor, look at my other videos, and also check in the description box below, because I will be linking some resources. I hope to see you soon again.